Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. So today we are modifying again in RV710 GPU, but this time one that actually has GDDR3. So I've already modified one card, which is this one, and this card also currently holds the first place on HWBot in Advantage, but sadly I think this card is no longer going to run because after I put all the capacitors on, this little thing here exploded. It's probably like a transistor or like a small MOSFET, well, basically the same thing. Like this thing blew up. Usually you want to see rather high resistance on all the pins, but now it has like 7 ohms on this pin, which is exactly VCore, and like 11 ohms on this pin. So, yeah. And because of that low resistance, I think I can't just swap it out. I think if I swap it out, the new one's just gonna blow up again. So I was just like, well, yeah, I don't really know how to fix this. So I'm just gonna mod the other card. Yeah, this was actually a really good card. It had Samsung, so basically, there's two main memory chips you seem to be getting from these. There's Samsung D-Die, as you can see here. There's a D before the dash. And this one has Samsung E-Die. Now this is normal DDR3, like this is just straight up DDR3, but with a little G in front of it because it's binned for like not DDR3 JEDEC spec, but for like GPU timing spec. But the actual chip is just a normal DDR3 chip. So it's the same E-Die and D-Die that you get on like DDR3 memory sticks. And usually I've been told E-Die is supposed to be better. However, the D-Die card clocked like almost 200 megahertz higher than the E-Die one. Now that might just be random variance between my two samples. But I've mostly seen most people, like E-Die seems to be a lot more common than the E-Die. And I've seen most people be around the same level that my E-Die card maxed out on. So I have a feeling that the D-Die is a little bit better, which is why I think it's kind of a shame that the card kind of broke. Yeah, all RAIDs still work on the card, by the way, like VCore works, memory works, even these small things work. So I guess this transistor, I don't know what it's used for. But like it seems to be connected to VCore in some way because I'm measuring VCore resistance on it. Though I think it's not supposed to be like this because all the other cards, I just get out of range measurements. Anyway, so as long as I don't know how to fix this card, I think this isn't gonna run because it just doesn't post. Like all the voltage rails work, but without this thing, the card's not getting detected by the motherboard. Also, the fan doesn't spin. Like, it twitches a little bit and doesn't run. That's like the only power rail kind of thing that doesn't work on the card. But yeah, so card is effectively kind of dead. Like, I know what's wrong with it. But I have a feeling that it's not the thing that blew up which is the cause. I think something else is the cause and that's just a symptom. So I don't just want to replace it because I don't know what exact chip that is, so I just would have to source it from a different card, effectively killing another one, to not even get a 100% chance to fix that one. Yeah. And beyond that, I have another D-Die card coming in. That's not this one. So this card, actually, I put a different heatsink on it, but I think I'm actually not... Well, no, yeah, this is the one. This is the card that I mentioned before that a viewer of the channel sent in. So huge thanks to you, because your card is now getting modded and hopefully will survive. So this card was sent in by a fan of the channel, so huge thanks for that. Without you I wouldn't have a card to run right now until the other one arrives, which I think was supposed to arrive today, but it's being sent with Hermes, so you can add another 1 to 2 weeks to that. So yeah, so I'll use this card in the meantime. You can see I already added a little EVC DAC connection here, but sadly this one uses a different voltage controller compared to the other cards. And this one actually has a feedback pin resistance that doesn't work that well with the EVC. So on the other cards, setting -10 microamps already pumps your VCore voltage by 100 millivolts. On this one, setting max, which is like 1270 microamps, only pumps your VCore voltage to, I think, around 1.4 volts. Which is plenty for water cooling. Well, actually, no. I've run like 1.6 volts on air. These cores can take in a surprising amount of voltage. But yeah, so I want more voltage range. So this one, I'm gonna keep the EVC one. I might remove this while I'm soldering, but I am going to put on a potentiometer, and probably this is probably the same controller. So I'm just gonna put another potentiometer on, yeah, because I don't know. I actually haven't tested what the voltage range on memory is. I think this comes at 1.8 volts default. Yeah, actually, this is E-die. As far as I know, you want to actually undervolt E-die. So, okay, let's not put a potentiometer on that for now, because like a potentiometer, you have to solder to either ground or the output to make it an undervolt or overvolt. With the EVC, you can do both with just one connection. So if I find out the voltage range is not big enough, I can just do it later. But yeah, for the memory, I'm actually just gonna put on another EVC thing, a potentiometer. But VCore's getting a potentiometer because 1.4 volts is not enough. Yeah. Then apart from that, I also want to do some cap mods today. Kinda how this card is, but maybe a bit more better looking. The one kind of annoying thing about this card is that it uses these like super small multilayer ceramics, which I tried soldering to, and I'm just not gonna do. They are too small, or like my hands are too shaky, or maybe my tip is too big. I don't really know. I can't solder to them. I can barely solder to these, which are also smaller than the normal multilayer ceramics that you see on most things. They're like basically these are the smallest you're gonna get on like a normal card. Well, actually that's a lie. You also get some of these super small ones, but usually you get, yeah, whatever. Like this is a normal size multilayer ceramic, I think. This is the ones that I can solder to pretty easily, which I think is gonna be what I'm gonna do, because I don't really want to solder onto directly to the capacitor legs. Could try soldering to this ground point over here, because I mean that's what I did on this card. I just soldered onto the multilayer ceramic, just added two capacitors. You can kind of see how I tried soldering multilayer ceramics. You can see all the ones that I soldered on are bigger, and the one on the board. Sadly, this card has like no capacitors around the memory that I can solder to, so I guess this one's not getting multilayer ceramics. Which doesn't matter much because we're undervolting anyway, so... I mean... if it has temperatures... Well, I mean, on the phase change it's gonna be cold anyway. But like on ambient, if your memory wants to be cold, then having capacitors would be better, because you can run a lower average voltage and still get the same minimums. But yeah, I've been like rambling for 9 minutes now and haven't even started soldering yet. Yeah. Actually, let's start by putting on our core potentiometer. So I'm gonna zoom out a little bit so you can see the multimeter. Let's see what kind of feedback resistance we have here. Wait, is that really just... What? 100 ohms? I mean, it does make sense. Yeah, 150 ohms. Yeah, it does make sense, because that means smaller voltage. I mean, the voltage range of the EVC doesn't just depend on your feedback to ground resistance, it also it depends on the relation between your feedback to ground and your feedback to output resistance. Yeah, so Where is my... I just need to find my potentiometers. And I'm just gonna make sure, because I'm an engineer. I don't trust my head to do math, so I'm just gonna do 150 times 20 is 3 kilo ohms. I don't have a 3 kilo ohm potentiometer, but I think I have a 2 kilo ohm potentiometer. 5K? Well, I could also use a 5K if I don't find it. 2K, 20K, 50K, 500K, 10K. Is that 200? I think that's 200. 500, 100K, 1K, 2K. Here we go. $202, yeah. 201 would be 200, right? And then 202 is 2K, I think. Is that how the codes work? Because I know 203 is 20K, right? Okay, let's just actually remove the pin fully. The last one that I'm not using. Do I want to put in a switch? I don't think Nah, I don't need a switch. I'm not gonna run this at 1.1 volts. This thing has a lot of voltage scaling for... Actually, what is this? Is this a 40 nanometer GPU? Or is this like a 55? It's terascale, so I actually forgot. But like basically this thing scales with voltage like a lot. So yeah, I won't be running this. Like I know that the VRM and the core survive 2.56 volts for several minutes. Because I did that on the red card that I showed modding. I accidentally had the EVC set to the maximum from running a different card, and I didn't reset the EVC. Or more like I reset the software button, didn't unplug the EVC itself, so the DAC still had the maximum microamps set. Which led to, well, if 10 microamps are 100 millivolts, there you go. Okay, I think I'm just gonna hot glue it onto this thing again. Like this. Yeah, actually, let's get the hot glue gun running. Oops. Where can I put it now? I'm just gonna put it onto the preheat. It's not running right now. Yeah, just want to have hot glue ready to put it on, because kinda I would just like want to hot glue it down right away and then just solder on the cables later. That's the one thing the VGA port's useful for. Do we even have... Yeah, my second monitor, my daily system has a VGA port. So, one wire goes to V-core, so that's about this length. And then another one to ground. Which ground spot am I gonna use? I'm just gonna use the... Well, actually, the capacitor's gonna get more capacitors on it, so I might wanna use a different ground spot this time. Is there anything that's like easy to solder to? Because like these ones, I'm gonna need preheat for. These ones are probably also gonna get capacitors on them. Also, that's the positive side. Am I just gonna put it on the capacitor anyway? And I just like put the other caps on top of it? Yeah, probably. So that would be... to figure out which side is ground, but that shouldn't be too hard. Okay. Let's prepare the ends one end is already prepared, which is nice. Alright. I don't have my hot glue guns ready yet. I kinda want to... Is it ready? No, it's not. Okay, let's figure out which side of that capacitor is ground. Also, I should open the window. I want solar fumes in my... Okay, so... Wait, is this not a VCOR capacitor? Looks like, yeah, looks like it's actually for this thing. So, okay, so then I'm not gonna put caps. Yeah, so these are the VCOR caps then. And then here's the cap legs, but I don't really like soldering to the legs directly because, yeah, I'm gonna need preheat for that. Okay, so then I just solder to the right side, which is ground, and then the left side, I guess, is connected to this, I don't know, 5 volt. There's 2 dropout regulators. Actually, this one's also a low dropout regulator, probably. So one's gonna be PAX. I think this is gonna be PAX. Then like one's gonna be 5 volts, and then I don't know, maybe like gate drive voltage, which might be different from 5 volts. Because I measured 3 volts in one of the low dropout regulators on the dead card. But that might actually be why it doesn't work. I don't know if it's supposed to be at 3 volts. I haven't compared that to the other cards yet. So, can we do that? No, it doesn't really want to stay. Okay, solder. I should put... I accidentally, when we were soldering iron to the tip of this and deformed it. So now applying flux is extra awkward. Well, that's on. And now we need to add, that one already still has flux on it. Need to add another one to a feedback pin. That thing's loaded now. Just so that the other one won't disconnect. Yep. Okay. Does that look good? I don't know if the connection's all that great, but since the potentiometer is gonna be glued in place, there's not gonna be any tension on it. Also, I should set the potentiometer to max resistance. I forgot that. Oh yeah, I have the EDC set up with all my alligator cables. Actually, that's a lie. I just lost most of them. So I'm just gonna do the thing. So we have 640 ohms. I'm just gonna turn it in one direction and hope that it's the right one. And when I hear clicking, I'm just gonna measure it. Okay, here clicking. Please be 2K. You are not in the wrong way. Man, this thing takes a lot of turns. There we go, clicking. 2K, right? Yeah, now we have 2K. Is the hot glue gun ready now? Yeah, I see a bit of hot glue dripping out of the front, so... I always hate these spiderweb thingies that come off the hot glue gun. Okay, that's in place now. And my cables were way too long. So. That's on. Yeah, I think I might hot glue the cables down onto the board, because I made them kind of a bit too long. And I made the prepared end of this a bit too short. Okay, I'm gonna remove a bit more insulation from this one. There we go. That should be better. Also put new flux. Okay, so that's our VCore Volt mod. Yeah, let's hot glue the cables down, because there's nothing going into that area. Our capacitors are gonna be here, potentially here. Maybe I can use this, but I need to find, well, this one probably has a ground pin. Could put a capacitor there. And then for the memory, I'm gonna just like put it on top of this, because I don't think I'll be getting many multi-layer ceramics. Which is kind of sad, but I mean, I got to 3rd place in cheap ass chips round 1 without putting any multi-layer ceramics on my NVS 300, and I only went to 3rd place because the other 2 guys in front of me modded their memory timings, and I didn't know how to do that. So, yeah. What would I want to do? Yeah, hot glue it down. So it's gonna stay. Okay, now we have our VCore Volt mod. So now let's get to the actual cap modding. Yeah. Also, I think I'm gonna sacrifice. I'm gonna have to remove some of these. Like, I ordered new ones of these cables, but they're gonna take like a while to arrive, so I have to be resourceful with the ones I have. I'll just do what I did on the 280 I've currently set up on my test bench, and just like solder on normal wires and then use alligator clips to connect to them. But let's do the... No, actually I want the output, so let's just have the cable right now. I'm just gonna steal it off of the batch card. capacitors probably hate it to be heated up like this. Okay, there we go. So this being a simple 8-pin IC means dot here, means feedback pin here. I didn't even check the data sheet for these, I just assumed and it was right. I mean, you can kind of see that the trace goes to like this little resistor array, so like, what else is it gonna be? Yeah, if you wonder what controller this is, by the way, before I cover it up with flux, it's an SC2608. Can't really see, my screen's really dark. Yeah, SC2608. Probably the same one for vCore. I don't even know what switching frequency this has. I know the UP1601 that's on the other cards has like 300 kilohertz, and apparently it's significant on these cards, or at least TAG wanted to have high switching frequency on these. So that's the inductor, which means the positive end is this one. Just gonna put that on. Okay, this one's on. Actually, let's put it here. Yeah, so let's get to the capacitor part. I'm just gonna use salvage, like capacitors that are already used on some things. I'm mostly gonna be using these two kinds. Yeah, both 2.5 volts. One's 1000 microfarad, the other one's 820. The 1000 microfarads one are 7 milliohms ESR, and the 820s are 5 milliohms. I don't know what the ESL spec is for these. This one has a multi-layer ceramics on it. Did I rip this one off a board? Yes, I did. Same with this one. Yeah, my soldering used to be really bad. Still is. Okay, let's put the big ones on first. So the yellow wire is on that side, so that's the positive one. Okay, that looks relatively easy. It's nice to have two multi-layer ceramics there, like two smaller ones instead of one really big one, because that makes it easier to solder on more caps. Nope, it didn't connect. Damn. Now it connected. Okay, it is connecting both sides now, but one link is really weak. That looks better. And now just another one on the other side. Man, these all have multi-layer ceramics on them. I ripped all of these off some board. I don't remember what board it was, but damn. I'm gonna have to remove that multi-layer ceramic somehow. Or do I just... I mean... If it was ripped off the board, there's a good chance the multi-layer ceramic is like dead. And it's gonna blow up when I try to turn it on. So... it would be best to remove it. Just don't know how. I'm just gonna melt the solder away slowly. Till it just like gives... Let me get this off. He doesn't wanna... we just use one... Oh, they all have motor-less ceramics on them. Actually, one of them doesn't. We'll just use one of the smaller ones. No, this one also has a motor-less ceramic on it. It's just not connected to both legs. Now I know why they're all way in the trash bin. Because I have like... I have a bin of salvage components and then I have a bin of trash components. These ones were from the trash bin. Some stuff is in there because I'm just bad at... because I just kind of threw it in there. Even though it was salvage components, some of it is in there because it's literal trash. Like broken stuff that I can't use anymore. I feel like I'm gonna blow up the cap if I put more heat into this thing. You know what, I just use new ones. I'm gonna solve this problem later. I have a few caps left that are new. Like 4 of the big ones and then a couple more of the small ones. So there's also some others in there. Actually, it's... I need to buy new ones anyway. Let's just use up the big ones. Though I kinda wanna keep some of those for the other card that I'm gonna get. This is gonna be interesting to get into. Left one's not on yet. Now it's on. Okay. Now I could maybe try... But now I covered kinda up a lot of that. I'm just so stupid, that's ground. I could try taking one of the small caps and so putting it between there And here. Make it a bit shorter. It's kind of what I expected. It takes a lot of heat to put something onto that pad. Oh, it's not really on now. It's just kinda on there. Okay, it seems to be on there. I don't think the connection's too great. I think the, yeah. But hey, another cap on. I hope that's just enough for vCore. Because, yeah, I mean, I already said I'm not gonna put anything behind the core. That's just too small. And now, to possibly put like 2 caps onto the memory. Not gonna do any multi-layer ceramic stuff. That's kind of the thing that I don't really like about cheap ass chips. Like they use really low end cards, which the positive is they have very low heat output, so they're really easy to run, and very easy to mod because they have these super dumb 8-pin controllers. Bad part is that the PCB is just really crammed and everything's very small, and it's kind of hard to solder onto there, and you don't really have that many points to solder stuff to. And then it's both a positive and a negative is the price of these things. Like, these are super cheap, but the thing is, these are so old, you could also just get like GTX 260s for the same price, which would be still pretty easy to run. They don't have that high of a heat output. You could mount standard coolers to it because this is super small. And yeah, those are also rather simple to mod. Which is what we're actually doing, like we're doing the 260 comp. I actually think I paid less for my 260s than for these. I mean, for this one I didn't pay anything. This was sent in by a viewer, but the other cards I paid like more than for the 260s, I think. So yeah. I would love if cheap-ass chips could do something like 260s or like 460s, 560 Ti's, you know, like a middle-class card. That these are also like, I mean, look, the Fermi ones is still a bit more expensive, but like the Tesla ones and then the one before that, the higher end from that are like just as like same in price, just as cheap to get, but probably more fun to mod because there's just more space to do things. Into this card. There's another salvaged one. I was in the back. This one doesn't have a multi-layer ceramic, so I'm just going to use it. And then let's take a second one. This one's a new one. And that's probably everything. Okay, let's put on that one first. Needs to be the other way around. like that. I'm not too confident in that joint, but it seems to be solid. Yeah, that's also a thing. Like, I mean, I wouldn't describe my soldering as very good, but I think on these super small PCBs, it's a bit worse than usual. Because I did some solder jobs that I'm quite proud of. This one ain't one of them. Still gonna work, I hope. Like, I still don't know why the other card blew up. Because, well, actually, there's one thing. Sorry for interrupting the video, but like, behind the core, there's a little bit of solder here that bridges these two capacitors. That's because I tried to solder on like ceramics behind the core and it didn't work. Both of these sides, as far as I can tell, are V-core. But maybe they're not supposed to be. So maybe this joint is actually why that blew up. But again, like, both of these caps are, as far as I know, V-core caps, and both of, like, this inner side is both positive on them. So it shouldn't really do anything. But because it's kind of related to V-core, because I was measuring V-core resistance on that thing, it might be. So yeah. So this way around. I also need new flux. This flux is terrible. Didn't even come in this tube. Just put it in there. That's not even a real tube. It was like a gift from a grandparent where they put money into. But it works as a flux tube too. Or like a flux syringe, more like. Okay. Okay. Now I just need to not bump them because that will rip the only multilayer ceramic off the board that's here. Yeah. Okay, can I do anything on the front? I mean, I could have recapped this existing one, but I don't really want to. Oh, I was thinking of like maybe putting on some 12-volt input caps, but seeing how loaded it already is, and seeing that, like, these are the 12-volt input caps I have, which are terrible, like horrible. They are electrolytics, they're not even solid. They're giant and not good, so I'm not gonna bother. So I guess the card's finished. Only thing remains now is booting it up and hoping that wherever the transistor on this board is, because this is a different board. Like, they're both Sapphire, but this is actually a different board. Like, this one has an HDMI port, the other one has an as a video. So yeah, it's probably one of those over here. I hope the transistor thing doesn't blow up on this, because if it does, then I really don't know how. Like, we just soldered on some capacitors, and like the volt mods are like, yeah, that shouldn't be anything going on here. So yeah, I'm gonna test. Oh well, actually I can't test the because I have the GTX 280 in the test bench still, and it's like set up for sub-ambient cooling and everything. So I'm just gonna say it's done now. It's like yeah, I'm a little bit unsure because the other card blew up and I didn't know why that happened. But like, this is volt cap modding like I've always done it. I don't know why it would blow up now. yeah. So, yeah, thank you for watching, I guess. Gonna bench this one next. I just kind of felt like benching the 280. Because of our 260 comp, but without actually benching a 260 because we're not at that stage yet. Yeah, and this one's gonna be run next, unless I get the D-die card today and it proves to be like golden, but I'm still gonna run this. So yeah, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you're enjoying the cheap ass chips competition, or just watching me mod stuff, or maybe you're just looking at this because you wanna have some inspiration, let's say, for modding your card. Because, like, I mean, as nice as it is to say that I'm currently holding first place, I'm not gonna stay there. Like, it was literally on, like, with this heatsink and just a case fan pointed at it. Like, not even water cooling. So yeah, my score is not gonna last. I already know that Salted Croissant is planning to join in, and he has a card with really, really good memory, it seems. Even better than my D-die, so... yeah, it's gonna be interesting. We'll see. Also, I haven't run Vantage... no, I have run Vantage, but I haven't run 01 and 03 yet, which are the other two stages of the comp. So yeah. But anyway, video's actually under an hour. Quite interesting, considering that the other video modding was without the capacitors and it was about this length too. Huh. Anyway, yeah, I already did the outro. So, bye.